Hello again. So I got some time to work on my tape typing unit, aka non-perforating typing reperforator. I used a bit of linen agent here in Norway called Zello. It's basically a soapy detergent used in households. You could probably see Usagi Electro using that to clean his machines, his teletypes in some of his videos. What I'm going to try to do is a bit different here, because this assembly has a few magnet solenoids on here that control the motion of the typing unit, as well a magnet here with articulated, some sort of articulated bracket that I believe is a part of rub-out mechanism. I haven't quite looked it up if that's the one. There were several versions of this device, model 35. Some of them had rub-out, some of them had other functions like tape switching and things like that. But point is, I am hesitant to dunk this whole unit with all the electric job, with all the windings under the foil and shellac that it has, into any detergent, no matter how mild it is, just simply because some water can get seep and stuck for good in the coils. So the plan's a bit different. What I'm going to do, I'm going to remove those and that other magnet, remove the wiring harness that we have up here, remove the contact for each connector, and the rest of the machine will go into engine flushing oil. Now, a bit about this, as many machinists and mechanics know, it's a lot easier to clean stiff hydrocarbons, for example, when you have your hands dirty, using rubbing them in light faction oil, like light motor oil or engine flushing oil or machining oil, because they dissolve harder hydrocarbon factions, and then you can wash that easily with that soapy water. So that's what I'm trying to do as well. I'm gonna generously dip it with engine flushing oil. I have a few liters, so that should be plenty. After that will work for some time, I'm gonna put the whole unit into Salo, just to get rid, in probably a few washes, of this oil and all residue that it will take out with that. So I expect it to be good. I used it on different parts and mechanisms before. I have metalworking lathe in my basement, so I have plenty of experience with that oil. So after that, I'll dry it up and lubricate as per Teletype's own instructions. So you could see I started disassembling. First I removed this so-called rangefinder assembly, that the thing that regulates the typing speed, or transfer speed I would say, of Teletype, and it is controlling when the behavior of this clutch. Basically, it's a lever that triggers that dingle on the clutch. Unfortunately, I'm not very thoroughly familiar with this device function. That's no wonder, because of how actually complicated that it's in its own way is a pinnacle of precision machining, about the right size of machines I like to work on. I don't really like to work on watches, or neither on the large stuff like cars. This is about the size I like. Yeah, I fixed a lot of medium format cameras, some Leicas, and made some lenses, machine parts for optics myself, so I think I could handle this job. Famous last words. So the magnet is now loosened. This rangefinder assembly was held just with 2 screws, no, 3 screws I think, here, here and there. And that magnet was held on the bracket with 1 screw in here and another over here. I would have to probably desolder the cable to get it out, otherwise I would have to get rid of this tape guide somehow. It is not exactly clear how easily it can be removed. Could be quite a hassle, but we'll see. The other job would be removing this connector. I started on this one. This screw was a bit stubborn, so I let it hard to access, so I think I need to remove the helical wheel, the drive wheel, first, and it's actually kind of stuck here. I used a bit of WD-40 yesterday, maybe it will loosen up now, so if I get around to this screw I'll be able to remove this one and the rest of wire harness on that end, and I need to find the best way to remove this coil assembly on that end. There's naturally a couple of screws on this end of bracket, but I'm not quite convinced that alone would suffice. Could be other things holding it together, so we'll get to see that. Yeah, so I was able to remove the screw now. Teletype, in the actual wisdom, had made these screw heads uniquely with both slotted access for screwdriver and with hexagonal edge for a wrench, which I used to loosen it, and I think WD-40 helped a lot. So we can remove that one now from the shaft. They use this type of screws everywhere, you see, elsewhere in machine as well. That's really wise. That helps you from stripping the screws actually. I could see there is some stale lubricant in the bearing, which will probably be also washed out, which I would need to repack with a grease, which I fortunately have. So let us remove the connector. The connector isn't bulging. Well, that one could have some WD-40 perhaps. No, it's going. It's actually going. These are very good quality steel screws. I use proper screwdriver, but also these slotted screwdrivers, slotted screws, grip really hard, and they just never ever strip. This is remarkable. Okay. Machine fell out. I don't know where. To rephrase Robert Burns or whoever it was. Probably it was in here. So what I'll do, I'll affix the screw, so just it is held together, and replace the shaft as well. The cogwheel on the shaft, that is. Yeah, here we go. As I say, it's a very good quality machine. The sheet metal parts cut with very good precision, probably a really good die making job. and of course a lot of machined parts. So lots of adjustment points which I will attempt not to upset as much as I can. Also now I need to loosen the harness. The wire is kind of stiff and doesn't instill much confidence, so I would probably have to redo the harness afterwards, but that could be done as a separate job. Alright, so this magnet just gave in. It was only one screw on the top to remove, and the whole thing extracts. So I would say this thing is reasonably serviceable. Now I want to remove the harness. Right, so you see I cut the straps in the harness, set it free for most part. This contactor assembly, it's a bit too delicate to dunk it into motor oil, I think, so I think I need to remove it as a whole as well. It would help me to get access for the selector magnets wire as well. So how would I do it? I would remove these two screws and probably lift the whole piece out. I'm not too afraid about misalignment because this was too loose and the assembly was wandering. It will have to be adjusted for operation later. So I want to screw it out. Let me see. Screw number 1, 2 shims, compression grabber shim and a flat shim. Right. So let me put the camera in a bit more favorable position. Working outside on our deck now. It's a beautiful weather. It's not raining here in Bergen, which is rain capital of the Western Hemisphere, actually, probably of the whole Western world. You know, people complain about bad weather in Seattle, and we have like 3 times the annual rainfall of it. So let's see. Yeah, it goes off beautifully. I think it's gold plated as well. Some of that could need a clean. That's a good job for dioxide. Better than motor oil and sallow. Putting the screws in place. Oof. This one is stubborn. Fat fingers, you know. This whole thing uses imperial threads, UNF, stuff like that throughout. Right. Okay. So here we have a mounting lug, a plastic lug that holds the cable and prevents this to go. So a good idea is probably to unscrew this end. Unscrew this end of a tape guide. Undo this bolt. There is probably somewhere a formal disassembly procedure I have a file to locate it for this unit, so sort of have to go out on inspiration here. There you go, but these screws has been in place for a long time, that I can say. Right, the strap is out now, so I can just bend this slightly. It's much more agreeable now. Right, so I replace the screw here just to keep track of where everything goes. I have video, but that saves me a lot of rewinding. Right, the whole harness in its glory is here. So a bit of cleaning, testing, rewiring to do this, as I assume some load resistor ballast, but need to check if it's still in good order as well. It's kind of roughy. Don't think much would happen to the coils themselves, but anyway, it's bit of its own cleaning job, which can be separated from this mechanical one. At least this can I just dunk with oil. That's the next what's coming. Okay, here comes the oiler. I don't really have any grand plan other than dunking generously, I guess, going from top to bottom makes the most sense. That's what they say about Teletype people, that they service by dunking the whole thing in motor oil. Well, we'll see. Can't make it much worse at this point. All flat surfaces or angled surfaces or teeth, cokes, all wheels, all screws, some of the springs. It's beautiful doing it with an oiler. Allows for some precision. Here is some really stale grease in that spot. Work it a bit as well. No oil gonna be spoiled. Down in the bearings. Clear all this selector stuff near the clutch. Oh, look, there's an oiler. Let's put some oil there too. Yeah, it's an oiler. Fancy. Really fancy. you see darkish spots from hardening grease and oil. It's worth a good. Okay, so much for the clutch. Have to be careful with the clutch, I guess, but it's gonna be washed off anyway afterwards. Put it on the guide generously, like we have plenty of it. All right, so the unit is out of oil and into the biggest suitable form I could find. I'm not sure if it will barely cover here, probably. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna spray it a bit with sallow, click it around a few times, and fill up with water to the brim with more sallow, and leave it to degrease overnight. Get into the most nooks and crannies. That should do it. Now, where did this come from? Yeah. Some concentrated salt for good measure. Fill it up with hot water. So here's the unit after second degree bath, dried up under blazing Norwegian sun. What I did is I found some joints still had unbroken lubricant grease on it, so to break up I just sprayed it a bit with WD-40 relevant spots. Then I put it into degrease bath again, and then I dried it. I started putting up lubricant oil, sewing machine oil at axles and rotation spots. And I'll pack the beer in with the grease, and on the sliding surfaces where it's prescribed by the lubrication manual. So I'm not gonna do complete strip naturally. I don't think you can make it any cleaner without complete strip, but it's not something I have time or frankly skills to do. So the unit will see only sporadical use. It's not gonna be a 24/7 teletype room, but more of an exhibition project. I think it will be quite lubricated enough for that.